Welcome back to Nicholas' Comic Corner, classic slash non-classic. This is episode number 780, Doubleshot number 674. Yeah, it's something though I get this far in just like about 2 months. Yeah, I'm getting through these a lot of these really big numbers really quickly as well. I have a lot of episodes to record. That's simply the way to put it. All right, let's talk about these two trades. One is an X-Men trade, one is a trade. I will talk about what it is. I've never used a trade from the series before, so I kind of figured out why not do a first one here. Well, actually, I have, but I'll get to what it is in a minute, okay? First up, it is X-Men versus Hulk. This trade collects various times the X-Men have countered the Hulk from 2007 to, I think, about 2010. Yeah, over the course of a 3-year period, they count him. First was in the tie-in for the awesomely event known as World War Hulk. Excuse me, yeah. The 3-issue miniseries tied to that event. Then came Hulk T number 1 and X-Men vs. Hulk number 1. They also threw in here the first time that they threw in here the first time Angel and Iceman first fought the Hulk from Incredible Hulk Annual number 7, and the story from Rampage Hulk number 2. Let me talk about that one first. That's actually a non-canon story. Yeah, this is revealed in this issue of Incredible Hulk that all the stories for Hulk from Rampaging Hulk never happened in the MCU. It never happened in the comic universe. No, that was revealed to be a series of films that was airing on an alien planet. Yeah, it was really weird. The annual itself, first time, they actually referenced this particular annual in the miniseries, the World War Hulk X-Men. Yep. And they also reference in the main series of various X-Men have actually met the Hulk. The first time the X-Men ever met the Hulk was actually back in Kenny X-Men Volume 1, number 65. That was the first time these two teams ever even fought. First time these people ever met each other was that. Of course, it was also the first 4 issues of I believe it was the Savage Hulk series. Well, it was a separate ongoing series that kind of loosely told the gaps between like Hulk stories. Like the first arc was supposedly set right after X-Men 66, and then the other one was like set right after 300. Yep. Now, in the case of the World War Hulk X-Men miniseries, it simply put, Hulk is visiting the Xavier Institute. Now, those who know what happened in World War Hulk, well, you have to replanet Hulk first to understand that. Hulk was sent to space by a group of superheroes known as Illuminati. Well, at the time, consisted of the original lineup was Iron Man, Mr. Fantastic, Black Bolt, Namor, and Charles Xavier. Basically, the smartest minds on the planet basically comprise this group. And Xavier was absent from the meeting due to the events of House of M, and all who were there, all but one, voted to send the Hulk into space. The only one who was actually opposed to it was Namor, because even he pointed out that it was kind of a dumb idea to do, but the Illuminati sent him in space anyways, and you gotta replanet Hulk and understand what goes on, what that leads into World War Hulk. Yeah, and Hulk, the reason why he's here, now Xavier is actually told by Iron Man of all people of what actually happened in the actual series. But here's kind of the thing. In the Planet Hulk film, they made a switcheroo in a way where in the original story, I've heard it was Reed Richards who was telling Hulk that this group, they're the ones who voted him to space, while in the film it was Iron Man. I've heard it was due to legal reasons why they had to change that. And of course, in the miniseries, for a series called War Hulk X-Men, Hulk gets into a fight with the X-Men at the Xavier. This is, of course, during the events, before, during, and after of Endangered Species. Yeah, and they also reference what happened in the pages of New X-Men when the Purifiers attacked the school, killed one of the students with a sniper rifle. They don't really bring up the fact that a school bus full of children was blown up with a bazooka. Yeah, they don't bring up that, but they do bring up the fact one of them was shot in the head. Yeah, and Mercury points out, though, about this, that you think that you're the only one who suffered. The X-Men suffered a lot more, showing all these graves. Yeah, and of course, This particular event is never mentioned in the main series. It's simply put, you kind of think of this as during the period of time when Hulk is actually waiting for the time to run out. Hulk Team Number 1 is simply just like a brief fight between... now, the created teams these issues are Christos Gage, Mark Emmett, Chris Claremont, Roger Stern, Doug Moak, Alex Zub, and John Byrne. The artwork is done by, well, Andrea DeValo, Silver Green, Jeremiah Rapik, John Byrne, Walt Simonson, and John Chin. Ed McGinnis actually is one of the cover artists of these issues, so with Dexter Veens, Dave McKinnon, Michael Gold, I've actually met this guy, really nice guy, David Yarden, Will Cortado, John Byrne, Bob Layton, and Ken Barr. Yep. And they refer to these as rounds. Each issue, yes, referred to as round. Like the first three issues of War Hulk X-Men, that's like rounds 1 through 3. And it's a really good miniseries. It also loosely ties to what happens in pages of Excalibur, where had Juggernaut lead the group of 3 issues to fight the Hulk. The Hulk team up issue, just Iceman and Angel working with them to, well, this was in the X-Men War in San Francisco at this point, and of course referencing also what have pages of Hulk. And it's mainly put them teaming up with the Hulk to take on a group of Harpies. Yep, a group of Harpies. That's essentially what this issue is. The backup story is, well, Hulk taking on, of all people, Dazzler. Yeah, it's Hulk versus Dazzler, and he doesn't hurt her at all. The X vs Hulk one-shot, which is done by Chris Claremont, referred to as Round 5. And there's even a classic little homage to some classic cover art. They even use this very image in the Giant His Old Man Logan just before Wolverine kills the Hulk. Yeah. This is a story set in the past. They don't specifically say when. You want to know it's in the past because, well, it could take place in the present day, but Wolverine is wearing that ugly costume. I know my friend Andrew Cutter, basically, he likes his costume, but I don't really care for this one. It looks so ugly on him. It doesn't feel like a Wolverine costume at all. Yeah. It's a quick little skirmish, half middle of nowhere, and then, of course, the classic issues. Yeah. Then the classic issues come right after that. Great set of stories. I highly recommend it. So I'm going to get this book a 9.5 out of 10. Next one. Now, I have reviewed trades for this series. Well, I kind of forgot that, but I have. This is Thunderbolts Guardians Protocols. Now, I have reviewed trades for this series before via the Hawkeye and Thunderbolts trades. And those collected about 25 issues of the series. I think it's 25 issues. No, it's more like, I think about 27 issues. Yeah, 27. This book collects issues 106 to 109. This technically is the end of the Famous Season era because right after this, who takes over the book as the writer? White Warren Ellis. Yep. The Thunderbolts at this point mostly comprised of original members, but this is mostly set right after the events of Civil War 1. But they also have the character Joystick, who actually way back in issue 2. Of course, they also hint apparently she was a traitor. So Grandmaster is the main villain of the storyline. Though the continuity of this one is a bit weird, because when these issues were coming out, they have Captain America show up in here, and he's fighting alongside Hank Pym. Now, last time I checked, when these issues came out, Cap was dead, and as far as I know, no one at Marvel has ever bothered to explain this continuity hiccup when it comes to storyline. And also, like, if you don't read Civil War 1, you're probably like, how in the world did Thunderbolts get an army of supervillains? Well, you have to read the Civil War 1 tie-in for that. Yeah. Now, Famous Seas does the writing in here with Tom Garrett on the artwork. Yep. Now, mostly put, this particular storyline is kind of the end of the original era. Well, end of probably the second era of the Thunderbolts. The original one was the first 75 issues. The second one was basically the revival of Thunderbolts with new Thunderbolts. And this is kind of the end of the second era of Thunderbolts. Where they're just a regular team of reformed villains. And after this, they become a government agency. for about 2 years. And then become a Black Ops group, and then become Marvel Suicide Squad. hmm Yeah. And of course, they fight the Grandmaster. They don't actually fight Squadron Supreme, and also the storyline is also the last known appearance of their original base operations, which is the Folding Castle. Yes, that was the original base operations. Well, one of many they had over the years, and this was the last appearance of it. It later got replaced with Thunderbolts Mountain, which became the definitive base operations for Thunderbolts during the government agency era. And then it got moved to the Cube, and then it got moved to the Raft. Yeah, they kept changing it over the years. Yeah, that was a recurring thing when it came to the Thunderbolts. Now, the Thunderbolts Mountain, that was base operations than before. They actually took it from another villain. They actually took it from the Massive Evil. Yeah, that was a base Massive Evil, and they just took it as a spoils of war after they defeated Massive Evil. Now, what happened after the storyline? Well, during the course of the storyline, there was a thing called the Wall Spring, and in order to save the planet, Atlas sort of basically went to his giant-sized form and just sealed up the thing, and he basically could not move. This will be his last appearance for about a year, and then he shows up in Last Defenders with no explanation of how he got back normal. Most of the other members will stay with the team, except for Zemo. Zemo will go off on another. Basically, what happened to Zemo actually will be explained in the Thunderbolts Better Zemo miniseries. Yeah, that's basically where he ends up basically traveling through time. And as for everybody else, they stay. Though, about halfway through the run, after Warren Ellis ends his run, and when Christos Gage starts his era, Radioactive Man gets deported by Norman Osborn. Yeah, he does. Now, the lineup at this point consisted of also Moonstone, who'd been in coma since the Avengers Thunderbolts miniseries. Yeah, she comes out of her coma. But the lineup at the start of the storyline is Zemo, Songbird, Atlas, Mach 4. I'm trying to think who else. Joystick, and the second swordsman, who is the son of Baron Wolfgang von Strucker. It's Andreas von Strucker, who is carrying around a sword whose hilt is made up of the skin of his dead sister. No joke. That is seriously what they say in here, what it is. Yeah. And it was very implied for years that him and his sister were doing it for years. I'm like, why? This was particularly very weird, and it's the only canonical version of this particular type of relationship I can think of in the regular Marvel comic universe. They did use that kind of concept for Ultimates 3 when it came to Quicksilver Scarlet Witch. Yeah. But this storyline's actually really good. Sad to say, this is the last Fame of the Season on the book. The stuff I have reviewed some Famous Season stuff before, but he was in the book for a good period of time. He wrote a good chunk of the book's history. It's something also that Mark Bagley didn't write these issues, didn't draw these issues, yeah. But Matt Bagley himself, his last issue he drew before coming back a couple years ago to the book, was actually with issue 75. That was his last issue he drew for almost 10 years. And then he came back with the third volume of the series, dropped the second half of it. I'm going to get this book at 9.5 out of 10. It's a really good set of issues. And mostly the team stays mostly intact afterwards, so they add some more members to the group after this. But the team you see in here, well, Joystick, she was later to be a traitor who apparently has been a spy in the group ever since he first joined the group back in issue 2 of the original Thunderbolts. Yeah. Excuse me. Joystick herself would occasionally appear after this. I think she did appear in the most recent volume of the series, done by Jim Zeb. Yeah, and they brought back characters like, I think one was like a woman called Mankiller. Yeah. But Thunderbolts is always a great series to read. And it is something, though, Marvel ended the series last year as a lead-in. The final issue was a lead-in into a Secret Empire. A crossover that was deemed to be the worst crossover Marvel's ever done because it had a good start and then just floundered right afterwards. And it seemed like that Nick Spencer had no idea how to do a major crossover like this. Yeah, he did a crossover for either the standoff crossover, but this, yeah, he had no idea what he did with this. But this This is like the aftermath issues of Civil War One. Mm-hmm. Before Warren Ellis took over the book for about a year, and then Gage took over the book for like another year, and then for the next like about the next couple years, then it was Andy Diggle took over the book. Yeah, and then after he left, then Jeff Parker took over the book in 2010, and he was the writer of the book. And even when the book was changed to Dark Avengers, he was basically the writer of Thunderbolts for about 3 to 4 years. But Nicieza was probably by far the longest running writer of the entire series. He wrote a good chunk of the issues, and he's a fantastic writer. I got a chance to meet him at Comic-Con. I never got a chance to talk about Thunderbolts, though. No, I never did. Didn't get a chance to. But if I get a chance to see him again, I will talk about Thunderbolts. Okay? But that's really it for this episode. Stay tuned for the next episode, which is going to be on some X-Men trades. Okay? But until we see you in the next episode, bye.